If you want to be more efficient and effective while running your business with more inner peace than working on the core of your issues instead of putting on a band-aid is vital. Welcome to the Business Brain Podcast.
I'm your host, Esty Rapport, and here to help you improve your 28 cognitive functions, the 28 things that make up thinking. In each episode, we'll discuss a real-life challenge, why you might be struggling with it, and give you practical strategies so all areas of your life will improve.
Today, we're actually talking about me, Esty. Yup, I'm here to tell you all the details on what I did when I found prepping for this podcast very mentally draining. How meta is that? In case you don't know, there is a ton of prep that goes into every episode. In order to keep it as concise as possible, I plan out all the details, all the stories, all the exercises, everything before I hit record. This way, there's no yapping fluff, just value. Yet, for some reason, I found myself procrastinating when it came to doing the prep and feeling extremely mentally drained by the time I finished writing. So I did my favorite process to do whenever I'm procrastinating. And not only did it get rid of my procrastination and took less mental energy, it also caused me to adjust my workflow, which ended up saving me hours on this task. And I literally got done almost a time and a half of work in the usual amount of time. If you're experiencing something similar, I'm here to tell you, you do not have to struggle forever. In this episode 471 of the Business Brain Podcast, I want to share with you the exact steps of what you can do to have your own transformation. But first, do you ever wonder if getting through the day could be a bit easier? Tasks don't take as long, projects just happen smoothly. What if by the end of the day, you feel energized instead of feeling drained? I'm here to tell you it's possible. In our 90-day program, Optimize Your ADHD Brain, we work on solving the root cause of your challenges so that way they're never a challenge again. Learn more and apply at lifepixuniversity.com/OYB. While you are doing any task, you, without even realizing it, are using your 28 thinking skills. The thinking skills you need to use are strong. Doing the task happens easily. The thinking skills you need to use are weak. Doing the task becomes a challenge. The struggle that I had came from a weak thinking skill of collecting precise data. As soon as I caught myself procrastinating on preparing for podcast writing, I asked myself this question: what part of the task does my brain not like? Often in tasks, there are many micro tasks. If there's a micro task that is a challenge for our brain, we find ourselves procrastinating on the whole task. By asking the question, what part of this task does my brain not like, we can identify the challenge and solve that problem. When I asked myself the question, what part of the task does my brain not like, I went through my entire workflow. Deciding on the challenge, the client that we want to cover, that's not an issue. Identifying the cognitive function related to the challenge, easy peasy. Figuring out the intro, not a big deal. Writing out the exercises I did with the client so I can share it with you, the audience, to try it at home. Ooh, that's one that I can do, but it's really, really, really not fun. Okay, we're getting somewhere. And now it's related to the part of writing out the exercises so you could have your own transformation at home. Let's go deeper. What part of writing out the exercises is a challenge? Well, I can't really remember exactly what we did in the session, in what order and what approach we approached it. So it makes it a bit difficult for me to write it out in practical steps. Bingo, collecting precise and accurate data. Without the accurate information, it's really challenging for me to do the work. Once I understood this was the challenge, I did two things. One, I added a step in my workflow that had me check my session notes because I really have it all written out. So I know exactly what we did in the sessions before writing the steps for the podcast. It's no longer some sort of vague concept. I think this is what we did. Now I know exactly what we did, in what order, how we approached it, and all I need to do is break it down into smaller steps so you can do it at home. The second thing I did is I wanted to improve my ability to collect precise and accurate data so that way all areas of my life related to this thinking skill is no longer a challenge. To get better at this, before I start a task, I now ask myself, do I have everything I need to do this task smoothly? What's funny is I thought I was doing this, and to an extent, I was. But there were some times where I was missing a piece of information that later I had to go back and get. And now, by going deeper in this question and making sure I really have everything I needed, I actually really had everything I needed. I would also ask the people I was getting the information from if this is everything I needed without making the assumption that I had everything I needed. And often they tell me another detail or two that would make a big difference. The reason why you're procrastinating or feeling mentally drained can be because of a totally different reason. You want to ask yourself the question, what part of the task do I not like? Go deeper and deeper until you hit the real issue. It will connect directly to a thinking skill. Once you have the real issue, you'll want two solutions. One, to help you in this specific challenge. So in my case, it was adding another step to the workflow. And two, a solution that improves the thinking skills so all areas related to the thinking skills improve. So in my case, that would be asking myself the question, do I have all the information before beginning a task? Your challenge this week is to catch yourself procrastinating and ask yourself the following question. What part of the task do I not like? Based on what you discover, you come up with two solutions. A short-term solution for the problem you're working on in this immediate moment. And number two, a long-term solution for you to improve this thinking skill so that way it's no longer an issue. If you're having trouble figuring out what the real solution is or coming up with your two solutions, DM me on Instagram at LifePicks University and I'll help you figure it out. That's all for this episode of the Business Brain Podcast. If you enjoyed it, please share it with two of your business friends so they too can gain from it, and you'll be helping us reach our goal of 1 million downloads by the end of 2025. Cheers to peak brain performance.